On top of all of this, Raffensperger is now asking the social media site X to remove a false video alleging voter fraud in his state. The video purports to show a Haitian migrant with multiple Georgia IDs claiming to have voted multiple times. Again, election officials say the video is fake. Here now, the chairman of the Georgia Republican Party, Josh McKoon. A lot of eyes on Georgia for the right reasons, given what we've seen in the past. Do you have any concerns 4 days out about election integrity this time around?
Look, there have been many improvements since 2020. Our legislature, our Governor Brian Kemp, have put in some great safeguards. We've seen a dramatic reduction in absentee vote by mail, which was the center of a lot of the controversy 4 years ago. 1.1 million fewer of those ballots have been requested. The overwhelming majority of people are voting in person early, and man, are they turning out. It has been very exciting to see, particularly rural Georgia, a lot of areas dominated by Republicans turning out in huge numbers over these 18 days of early voting. So we're pleased with how things are going. Obviously, we have a robust poll watching program. We have lawyers, as do the Democrats, to watch for any kind of issues. But so far, I've been pleased with what I've seen.
So you're not seeing anything of concern, any irregularities or red flags?
You always have people that have issues in an election. You never have a perfect election, obviously. But we're not looking at the same issues that I think bedeviled the 2020 process. So I think that the changes the legislature made are working. And so we feel good about where we are going into Election Day.
All right, good to hear. 4 different election rules championed by Trump supporters in the state were thrown out, as I mentioned, by judges recently. How does this make the path smoother?
You know, I think the rules that were adopted by the State Elections Board were common sense measures to increase public confidence in the election. That'll continue to be litigated at the Supreme Court next year. You know, what we want to do is we want everybody to have confidence in the result of the election. And as I said, I think the legislature's done a great job of moving us in that direction. You can always do better, right? You can always improve your process. I believe we're going to continue to do that into 2025. But again, 2024 is not going to be 2020. We feel very good about that, both from the efforts we are making to ensure the election is fair, as well as the much different legal environment we're facing this time than we did 4 years ago.
Election night, we're going to be waiting on results from a number of states. Pennsylvania will be one. We'll be waiting on Georgia, and then some of the states out west that will take a little bit more time. Each state does it a little differently. Josh, talk about the process in Georgia, and at what point are you predicting we might see some final tallies?
So another great thing about all this early voting that's occurring is the legislature passed a law really modeled after what Florida does to require that those ballots get counted by 8 p.m. So we should have a really good sense of where Georgia is heading, you know, early in the evening. If President Trump is tied or close when the early and absentee votes are counted, traditionally we do very well with Election Day voters, so we'll have a pretty good sense of what's happening. So I think it will be maybe not an early night, but we won't be waiting weeks and weeks to know the outcome of this election.
How would you define Georgia's political landscape right now, politically, when you look at both sides and some of the evolution we've seen since the last election?
I think there's been a lot of buyer's remorse in some of our suburban areas, voters that voted for Biden in 2020 and voted Democrat down the ticket. They got some local government they really don't like. There are also the issues that, of course, you talk about every day, right? The economy, immigration, the broader national issues that this election is going to be decided on. But I definitely feel like Georgia Republicans united behind President Trump early. Everybody's really on board rowing in the same direction, and I'm cautiously optimistic about our chances. We have a lot of work to do between now and Tuesday. But if we do our work and we turn out our voters, I think it'll be a good night for President Trump in Georgia.
All right, we'll see. Josh McKoon, chairman of the Georgia Republican Party, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.